Tim Ryan is challenging Nancy Pelosi to become the leader of the Democrats in the House. Our Nancy Cordes caught up with the Ohio representative and asked him why he wants to replace the entrenched Pelosi as minority leader and how he thinks that he can make the party more inclusive.
We are not talking enough about economics. We have been slicing the electorate up. Who's black, who's white, who's gay, who's straight, who's brown, who's a man, who's a woman. And when you slice that up, there's no juice to that kind of campaign. There's no excitement. We need to talk about things that unite everyone. And what unites everyone is they want more economic security. They want higher wages. They want a secure pension. They want to send their kids to school and not have to work 80 or 90 hours a week to where they miss the softball game or miss the baseball game or miss the school play. Those are the kind of economic issues we really need to talk about because they cut across all of those demographics, can unite our party with a path forward. We talk a lot about the minimum wage, and I'm for an increase, and we all are, most of us as Democrats. We need to talk about middle-class wages, people who are just working and paycheck to paycheck. And about 75% of the country, if they miss one paycheck, their whole world unravels, and they feel like we're not talking to them. And that would be my biggest criticism of Democrats is those are our people. Let's talk to them. And they're not just white, they're working class, a third of which are people of color. So let's talk to them and bring them back into our fold.
CBS News congressional correspondent Nancy Cordes joins me now from Capitol Hill. Nancy, tell me more about this interview and what was the big headline?
Well, the headline is that Congressman Ryan says that he believes he's got a lot more support than what we've seen publicly. Publicly, only about a dozen members have come out and said they are going to back him in this secret ballot tomorrow. But he says that he has been working the phones all through the Thanksgiving break and that there are others who have told him privately that they are going to get behind him. Now, exactly how many there are, he wouldn't say. He said that's all part of his strategy. But he also argued that when you look at this list of people who have come out and said that they will get behind him publicly, they're from all over the country. And he said that that's strategic because they themselves are then making calls to others from their region, other like-minded members, to try to convince them to get on board with him as well. Furthermore, he argued that Nancy Pelosi, who has said since the beginning, even before she had an opponent, that she had 2/3 of the caucus locked up, he essentially said that she pulled that number out of thin air and that he doesn't believe she has the support that she says she has.
What's the sense, Nance? Do you think that he has a real shot at potentially taking over the leadership of the Dems in the House?
He has a shot, but most members believe that Nancy Pelosi will prevail simply because she has faced challenges like this before and has batted them away pretty easily. She's tried to do some damage control. She put out a couple of changes that she would make if she's to remain the leader, said she would give younger members more opportunities to hold leadership positions because she knows that that's something that has frustrated a lot of members. There's a letter that was recently put out by a group of 50 female Democratic members of Congress, all saying that they are going to be voting for her. And that's pretty significant, Rena, because there are only 65 female members in the Democratic caucus. To have so many of them coming out publicly saying that they are going to be voting for her tomorrow is a signal that she is in a very strong position.
Nancy, when you look across the board at the leadership on the House with Paul Ryan so much younger, is there any buzz within the Democratic quarters that there needs to be new leadership, that maybe someone like a Nancy Pelosi type figure needs to finally step down?
You have heard that arguments before, particularly among younger members who are frustrated, who say that there's no opportunity for them to sort of move up the ladder. Pelosi has been asked this question many times in the past, not just after this election, but several elections, and she's always argued essentially that that's ageist. Why is it, if she is doing a good job, and she believes that she is, and she keeps getting reelected for the position, why should she step aside simply because she is an older member of Congress? By that logic, she's argued, why shouldn't Mitch McConnell step aside as the leader of Republicans in the Senate? Why isn't anyone asking him to step aside? She's even argued before that questions like that are sexist because she believes that men in leadership positions here in Congress aren't being asked the same questions. But she does know that there is some frustration within her caucus that something isn't working, that they still believe in their set of policies that they're pushing, but somehow their message isn't getting across, particularly to voters in the middle of the country. And that's why Ryan argues that fresh blood from a member like him who's from Ohio would do the party good. He essentially said, look, if we keep on losing seats, if we haven't been in the majority in a decade, maybe it isn't all Nancy Pelosi's fault, but why would you keep going back to that leadership? Why wouldn't you take the advantage to have a fresh start and see if a new leadership team can do a better job?
Okay, our congressional correspondent for CBS News, Nancy Cordes on the Hill. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome, Rena.